Hello, my name's Anna, and I feel like talking about triggers today. Hi, it's Anna. I am editing this video currently to send it off to Niki, and I realised I didn't do a trigger warning for what this video was about. So first and foremost, trigger warning, this is topics of abuse and being triggered. So if you have experienced abuse, please do proceed with caution. I think it could be a helpful video for you to watch. I do kind of start off very boring and like speak in a very monotone kind of way, and I'm not really bringing the energy because it is such a heavy topic, but I do kind of pick up my confidence along the way and start to be a bit more entertaining to watch, I think, partway through. So please bear with that. But yeah, if you don't feel ready to watch a video talking about such heavy topics, totally okay. Please look after yourself. But yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. I don't really know how this particular topic came to me today, but I have been recently reflecting and doing a lot of healing and processing of abuse. I was in an abusive relationship for 4 years, and I just left that 3.5 months ago. And the first 3 months since I left, I was kind of in my own bubble, and I still hadn't told anyone about how bad the relationship actually was. So it was kind of nice. I could pretend that it was just a normal breakup, and I could just focus on calming my nervous system and feeling safe, and just I kind of avoided it, and it was kind of like the whole thing, it was trauma blocking, the whole thing. But obviously little things would still trigger me, because you can't just forget something like that happened. That is a huge thing that had huge effects on me, and probably will always have huge effects on me. So I started feeling like stuck, and the feeling was like I guess I would get triggered by certain things and no one around me would know. I'm living with my family. I should have mentioned that. I moved back in with my mum, and how many of my younger siblings are here? 5 younger siblings currently living at home as well. So I don't know, just having these people who are my family that I love and care for, and I know they love and care for me as well, not knowing what I went through, it just kind of had me feeling stuck. And I actually wrote something down, which I should have pulled up beforehand, but I kind of want to read it out. Okay, found it. I titled it "Moving On ... question mark" because I was like, that's not going to focus, is it? You know, my camera's not going to focus, that's fine. Okay, I said, not many people in my life know that I was in an abusive relationship. I've been okay with that, but have noticed how going about normal life feels sad and wrong, because so much of me has been changed against my will. I can validate and acknowledge that for myself, and the few people who do know also help, but it feels so weird that majority of people simply don't know what I've experienced. Actually, reading this, I think I wrote this when I told like my best friend. I think my best friend and like one of my co-workers, I think, at this point, because I said the few people who do know, so, but not many people know at this point. I said the perception of me feels wrong, but in saying that, I don't want everyone to see me as this poor, damaged victim. I am still whole and still me, but I'm different, stronger, more sensitive maybe. I don't exactly know how I want people to see me. I don't even think it matters that much, because how I see myself is much more important, but it runs through my mind often. I know continuing to live life in the after abuse means I will experience big, exciting things, and these things will overtake the abuse in top most influential moments of my life. With time, its impact will fade. New memories will overshadow the traumatic memories, and my life will look different, lighter and more positive, and I want that. I'm excited to no longer have my whole identity tied to this abuse, but jumping straight into the new after while other people don't know that this even happened to me feels so weird. almost as if it's holding me back. I feel ready to move on, but I don't know if the world around me is. And I actually wrote this and sent this to Niki at the Interventionalists, and kind of asked for advice on helping talk to people about this, or like, I don't know, even deciding like if I should tell people. Like, I was just very unsure. And since writing that, it's been like 2 weeks, and I've now told between 5 to 10 people, maybe like 7 or 8 people, not in super great detail, but I have told people. I've told quite a few people in person. So the first 2 like original people that I had told, it was just like either writing it, like texting, or like it wasn't face to face. Basically, it was like I sent a video, a Snapchat video, like talking about it, and then they responded like later. But yeah, I've told people in person and had some like hour-long conversations, kind of talking about it. But it was very like, I just said it. This relationship was toxic. It was mentally, physically, emotionally, verbally, financially abusive. Also, sorry, the lighting is probably changing drastically. It's very windy right now, so the clouds are like covering the sun, and yeah, don't mind that. It made it very real telling people in person, and it made me feel like I was falling apart. And it made me realize, like, when I would tell people and their response was like, holy shit, that's not okay, I was like, oh. Like, are you sure? Like, this is something that was my life, or the norm, for like 4 years. And I don't know, it's a coping mechanism, I think, to belittle it for myself, or to like not really acknowledge or truly recognize how bad the situation was, and how poorly he treated me, and the horrible things that I went through. But yeah, it's not actually helpful, and it will keep me feeling stuck, because conscious or not, my body, my mind remembers what I've been through. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about the book The Body Keeps Score recently. I haven't read it, but that would probably be a good thing to read. But I think that's when I started to realize, like, oh, this really was not okay. Everyone around me that I'm telling is reacting like this is crazy information, which it is. And I need to take this seriously. I need to allow myself to feel the weight of this. And I started just feeling, yeah, like I was falling apart. Like, basic tasks felt too difficult. It honestly reminded me of like severe burnout, like autistic burnout, which I am autistic, so there were like probably elements of that part of it. I don't know why I'm really talking in past tense. This is still something I'm going through. This was like 2 weeks ago. And there are people still that I need to tell or want to tell, particularly my mum and my stepdad. I haven't told them yet, but yeah, I don't know. It's been these last few weeks of telling people and facing it and falling apart and feeling like accepting that this is something horrible that I went through, and this is something that I need to really put intentional thought and like time into healing from. I ended up asking for reduced hours at my job, which I briefly explained to them, kind of what's happened, and they were okay with that, and that actually started today. So today was my first time actually finishing at 2:30, and that's why I have the time to sit here and make a video. and actually talk about what I'm feeling. So that's good. I'm very excited and grateful to have that. But yeah, just today at work I was thinking about triggers, and I honestly can't remember why or what brought it up, but I actually have a trigger journal. That I have quite a few journals, like 3 main ones, but this particular one I have called my trigger journal, and it says fragile. On the back I put a fragile sticker on it. And I think one of my second entries was a particular time when I was on my lunch break and walking to go grab some food, and there was this couple screaming at each other, very, very similar to the way that I would be screamed at in many abusive situations. It put me right back into that moment. Yeah, I'd written this is 2 whole pages, and I wrote these at work because I was trying to calm myself down from probably a PTSD episode, I think. I don't have an official diagnosis, but I definitely think it's likely, or at the very least it's a possibility, that I was experiencing PTSD this day. But I just kind of want to skim read this a little bit, because oh my gosh, it was actually really bad. I said I walked right in the middle of an argument that reminded me a lot of how my abusive ex would talk to me. The guy had walked right past me and started smashing a car behind me, and the girl kept screaming. I don't actually know if I can talk about this, holy fuck. I forgot that this was what it was. The girl kept screaming, "I'm pregnant," and he kept laughing at her. I felt my breathing change, and suddenly I was back in that place fighting for my survival, and I had to stop and wait at the lights to cross the road, right where they were. I could hear them walking up behind me as I waited, and I found myself looking around for someone to step in. But and I wrote here, it couldn't be me. I'm powerless. I can't step in and do something. Someone else needs to. Someone else could help. In the moment, I thought I wanted someone to save her, but I think I wanted someone to save me too. That's why I felt so powerless. I was not an outsider or an observer of this situation. It felt like I was the victim. I was back in. It took me immediately back to that place. And then when I crossed the street and got into the mall that I was going to, I felt like I was having a panic attack, which is not something that I felt very often. I do have, mild anxiety, but yeah, I was almost hyperventilating, and also started getting annoyed with myself and judging myself for not stepping in or doing something to help her. I just stood there and ignored it and pretended like I couldn't hear what was going on, pretending along with everyone else. I had to remind myself that I'm safe, and started thinking through what I actually could have done to help, being practical. Yeah, that didn't really help. I'm just reading what was written here, and it's definitely not helpful. But that helped calm me down to analyze it. Basically what I said is, I think embarrassment is huge for people like that, abusers or verbal abuse. I don't know if it was physical. He started breaking someone's car. I don't know if it was her car or what. I think it was, because she was saying something about how she can't afford to fix the side mirror or something. But he was trying to embarrass her, and when the embarrassment came back to him, he lashed out. See, that just doesn't really make sense reading it, but anyways, I said analysing it helped calm me down, which is kind of weird because reflecting on it now to write about it is riling me up. That's kind of funny. Different things help at different times. And then I felt lots of empathy for her and thought about how even if I hadn't experienced that same type of thing, I'd probably be just as affected by that fight. I am a highly sensitive and empathetic person, so I struggle with picking up other people's energy, and yeah, so something like that probably would have really affected me and made me feel horrible, even if it didn't have the triggers, you know. I said the only difference would be I might have judged her more for still walking away with him because I wouldn't have understood. Yeah, I remember thinking that, being like, my experience was not at all judging her, but then I was thinking of the perspective of everyone else who was just standing around pretending like they didn't hear it. Probably at least one person would have been thinking, why is she still going with him? Look what he just did. Why is she still, like... But that was not even a thought for me because I've been in her situation. And then, so around this time I was almost back at the office and found myself scared to walk back past that spot. I actually went around the block like a different way to avoid it because I was like, what if they're still there? Or what if, like, I don't know. I had extra time. Like, my lunch break wasn't over yet, but I was like avoiding it, and I was like, wait. I had like a really heavy feeling in my chest and avoided looking over at that spot too until I felt brave enough to look. Like, it really, really affected me. They weren't there and there was no sign of what happened. Like, I was half expecting to see glass on the floor or, like, I don't know. Yeah. It was such a weird feeling. Truly, I hated it. I hope she gets out. And that was the end of that journal entry. And that was 2 months ago that I wrote that. Very much been in the place of my pretending it wasn't that bad, kind of like blissfully ignoring or avoiding thinking about how bad it was. So that definitely like jolted me back to reality of facing how, like, the fact that I was so triggered and the fact that I was so disgusted in the way that that guy was speaking to, I don't know, his girlfriend, baby mama at least, or I don't know. Just the way that that situation happened was like horrifying to witness, and thinking that that is something that I also experienced. Like, it jolted me out of that, but I don't think I was ready to be brought out of that blissful bubble. Because yeah, I stayed in that for another 6 weeks until I felt started to feel comfortable enough to start telling people and facing it. And yeah, I guess the thing with being triggered and experiencing triggers is it's an opportunity to explore something that you've got going on inside subconsciously. And I've seen people actually on TikTok mostly talking about being curious with your triggers and the growth and healing that can come from just being open with what might come up for you when you're triggered, rather than judging it or trying to push it down. And I definitely think there's power in that, and I think that I've been trying to utilize that whenever I find myself triggered, being like, well, why do you feel that way? Gently, why do you feel that way? What's going on there? Where's that feeling coming from? And I have found that to be very helpful, but I feel like when it's a trigger for abuse, that's like a whole different kind of trigger. I don't know. Especially if there's like PTSD or even complex PTSD, CPTSD involved. I think that strategy is still helpful, to still be curious with your triggers and still not judge them and be open to what they want to teach you or what they're revealing. But I don't know, maybe proceed with caution. Fragile. I was thinking about this earlier, and when I was thinking about it, I had a lot more stuff to say, and now I feel like my mind's going blank. But yeah, definitely have grace with yourself with triggers, because that was the other thing. I was judging myself when I started telling people and falling apart, because particularly with work, and struggling to keep up with a working full-time 40-hour week, because in the midst of being abused, I was able to work 40 hours a week. And I was just like, why am I not able to do it now? Like, when I was getting abused on the daily, why was I able to still function? Why was I able to... It didn't affect me as much as now that I'm safe. And now that I'm out of that, I'm struggling to function. I'm struggling to show up to work. I'm struggling to do what I need to do. Like, it just wasn't quite adding up. And then I kind of realised that while I was in the midst of it, work was an escape. I was safe when I was at work. I was away from him, and whereas now I'm safe everywhere. And it's no longer... I no longer need to be distracted or have that as a form of escaping. I'm now safe and ready to face it, and it's now in the way, you know? And that kind of helped me be less judgmental towards myself. But thinking about it, like, beyond that, if the trigger is, you know, the thing that happened to you was abuse, or was something that should have never happened, it's the fact that you're able to make it through that is mind-blowing. Like, that's huge. And the fact that you made it through... I'm not wording this properly. For me, the thing that I survived and made it through, and the thing that I am getting triggered by, is not something that anyone should have experienced. And it was something that I didn't think I would survive. Didn't think that I would actually make it out alive, and the only escape would be if he actually killed me. So the fact that I made it through that and am now safe and now in this place, the feelings that I'm feeling and that have been pushed down, these are feelings that could have destroyed me if I felt them as I was going through the abuse. This is something that could have killed me. And accepting that is the reality of what I went through, helps with self-compassion. And yeah, because every emotion that you don't feel will pop up later, and these were emotions that it was not safe for me to feel for a long time. And there's a lot of layers to it. It's not like it was just one situation that I can unpack, and even if it was just one situation, that would be a lot to unpack. But it's multiple situations over a very long time, and so much of it has been blocked out and is very heavy to face. So being triggered, for me, it is an opportunity to explore those things that have been pushed down. But it's also, it's not something that I can feel all at once. Like, every situation, abusive situation or scenario that I've been through over 4 years, feeling just one of those in the moment, fully feeling it, would have been enough to kill me, could have killed me. So feeling 4 years worth of emotions and unpacking situations and processing, like, that's gonna take time. And that's okay. And like, when I started telling people what I've been through, it was just like, yeah, this relationship was really not okay. And then I just kind of was quiet and just waited for them to either say something or ask something or give me like direction of how to share it or what to talk about, because I didn't know how to share something like that. It's not something that's easy to share or talk about by any means. And actually, my best friend is sending down a book that's meant to help, or it has helped a lot of abuse survivors in figuring out how to share their story, and it's got like checklists of what happened to you and where, and like that should be arriving soon, and I think that'll help me kind of frame how I want to tell my story. And once I've done that, that's when I'll feel ready to tell my mum and my stepdad, because that just makes it so real, telling them. But yeah, I don't know, this is kind of meant to be about triggers, but it's kind of gone all over the place, and I feel like I've talked about myself way too much, but this is my video, so that's okay. We're at 29 minutes and 10 seconds, so my camera's about to stop recording, but I'll probably let it stop. I don't think there's anything else I want to share. Thank you for listening. If you've listened to this, if you related to anything, I'm very sorry. You didn't deserve that. You're not alone. And yeah, I am excited making more videos, hopefully, and sharing my thoughts. So if you want to see more, there'll probably be more coming from me soon. But yeah, look after yourself. Triggers are not something to be ashamed of, and you've got this. Yeah. Thank you. I don't know if it's gonna stop.